Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Obviously, we'll start out with the sad note of the weekend, and that's the death of A.J. Litton, the former Nittany Lion football player who played corner here and also excelled on special teams. Mm-hmm. You saw the tragic accident, the news of Kyrie Jackson, the fourth-round pick of the Vikings, being killed in a car crash. And there were two other people in the vehicle, and one of them was A.J. Litton. Mm-hmm. So three people were killed. He was one of them. The fault is with the other driver. Yes. And it's just awful. And just feel terrible about it. And you see a story like that, and it just is just another jolt for everybody that you should appreciate every single day. You just don't know. Mm-hmm. And our deepest condolences to AJ's family, AJ's friends, the Penn State football family, so forth, because it's just an awful time for all of them, and the shock of it as mm-hmm. well. The All-Star teams were announced.
Mm-hmm. There are 32 first-time All-Stars going in this year, which is quite a few, I believe.
Well, two Pirates are going. Brian Reynolds, mm-hmm. who's just been so hot the last month especially, mm-hmm. and Paul Skeens.
Surprise? Not at all.
Paul Skeens should be the starter in the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. And I say that as somebody who, it's not like I don't know Tyler Glass now. I do, mm-hmm. because he pitched here for the Spikes. But the game needs, I'm talking about the sport, yes. needs Paul Skeens to start. I'm going to take you back to 1976.
Let's do it.
And in 1976, there was a pitcher by the name of Mark the Bird Fidrich. Mm-hmm. He'd pat the mound, he'd talk to the baseball, the whole deal, right? And he became the rage in baseball that year. He ended mm-hmm. up being a 19-game winner. Now, arm trouble derailed his career, and eventually he had to get out of it. Mm-hmm. But in that year, in 1976, he was the rage. So two stories. One is Jim Spence wrote a book called about, why, the world of sports that he was involved with at ABC. Mm-hmm. Spence says they're in a meeting and the Tigers are going to play the Yankees on Monday Night Baseball. Mm-hmm. ABC has it. So now they have to decide how we're going to open the game. And Fidrich is going to pitch. Mm-hmm. So the three announcers, Bob Prince, Warner Wolf, Bob Uecker, say, well, this is obvious. We're going to feature Mark Fidrich in the open. Mm-hmm. Spence says they're sitting in the production meeting, and I can't remember the name of the lead producer. He was one of the big wheels at ABC. But again, where are all the ABC people located? New York. Mm-hmm. He said in the open, we're going to feature Ken Holtzman, the opposing pitcher. Mm-hmm. And they looked at him and go, why? Because Holtzman pitched in the World Series, won games in the World Series, and he pitches for the Yankees. He went, so? This guy's the rage. Mm-hmm. So they do the open, and they feature Ken Holtzman. Fidrich goes out and pitches a brilliant game and beats the Yankees while talking to the baseball, patting the mm-hmm. mound, and everything he did, all the stuff that he was known for. And it created it enhanced the national phenomenon. Mm-hmm. When it came to the All-Star game that year in 76, Fidrich was the starter in the All-Star game for the American League mm-hmm. because he was the rage at the time. And it drew ratings.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Skeens is part of the rage that you're seeing in baseball right now. Mm-hmm. They can talk a lot about Shohei. They can talk a lot about Aaron Judge. They can talk a lot about Bobby Witt Jr., people like that. Mm-hmm. Some talented players, no doubt, talented players. But I need to get eyeballs to the game. America has only heard about him. They have not seen him. They have not really seen him pitch. He's pitched against 2 American League teams. He's pitched against Detroit, and he's pitched against Tampa Bay.
Not really eyeball teams.
Right. But that's it. Okay, all of his other starts have been against the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Mets. Right. So Yankee fans have not seen him. Right? Red Sox fans haven't seen him. Texas Rangers fans haven't seen him. They've heard about him. First over 1 year ago, on this day, he was still at LSU.
Yeah.
Right? Then finally was the first overall pick on the weekend. 1 year later, he's phenomenal. So
1 year later, he's starting the All-Star game,
you
hopefully.
want to put some juice into the All-Star game, you start him. And I don't want to hear all the rigmarole. This guy earned this guy earned that. Look, by being selected to the All-Star game, you've earned your spot.
Yeah.
After that, now you need to pick who's best for the game. Right? Not I don't mean the game Tuesday night, a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean what's best for the sport. And you need to put him out on the mound first. Because in the open, they'll make a big deal out of him being out there first.
And by the way, we're going to, because of, if he is to start, we would off the bat get him against Aaron Judge in the first inning.
That's right.
And that would be a matchup. It's like him versus Shohei was.
That's what people want to see.
See.
I mean, because they want to see a guy that goes out and wins consistently against a guy at the plate whose team is 6-16 in the last 22 games.
Yeah, they want to. Yeah, it's fair. But
6-16,
not ideal.
The last 22 games. The team that beat them last night, which has exponentially less talent, is 16-6 their last 22 games.
Yeah. Seems like the story of Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
Steve.
I'm talking about that's a Pirates.
No,
I'm
know.
talking about the Red Sox. The Red Sox are 16-6.
I know, but I'm saying it seems like the story of the Pirates to not be too great when you want them to be great.
The Pirates are right around close to 500.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're there because of Paul Skeens.
I have no, well, and
in part,
but that's.
But
he should start in the All-Star game. I don't care who starts in the American League. Doesn't matter to me.
But in terms of first-time All-Stars, I just want to go through a few of them here because I think it's interesting. You've got, of course, Skeens, Bobby Witt Jr., who is just a monster for Kansas City.
Yep.
Ellie De La Cruz made it for Cincinnati.
Yep.
Jackson Merrill made it for the Padres. Mason Miller.
Merrill is a really good player.
He's good. The Athletics got Mason Miller. And there are a bunch more players who made it. There's, I believe, 7 Phillies made it. 7
Phillies did make it, but 7 Phillies earned their way on there because the Phillies are having a phenomenal year. And I'm going to guess 3 pitchers, right?
They have 3 of the 5 infielders that are starting. Yeah. And then they've got Strahm, Suarez, Wheeler, and Hoffman all made it.
4.
In terms of the pitchers, it's first-timers for the NL is Glasnow, Hoffman, Imanaga, Lopez, Scott, Skeens, Strahm, Suarez, Robert Suarez as well, and Logan Webb, all first-time starters. The only first-time, or not first-time pitchers, Ryan Helsley, Chris Sale, and Zach Wheeler. This is Wheeler's second.
Right.
In the AL, the pitchers are Tyler Anderson, Corbin Burns, Clace, Crochet, Gilbert, Holmes, Houck, Lugo, Miller, Raggins, Skubal, and Yates. Most of them first-timers as well.
Well, the 2 spikes are Tyler Glasnow and Clay Holmes. They're both in there.
And then for the infielders, for the NL, it's William Contreras from Milwaukee, Ketel Marte at second from Arizona, and then Harper, Bohm, and Turner in the infield. Jurickson, Profar, and Fernando Tatis Jr. in the outfield from San Diego. Yelich, of course, from the Brewers. And then Shohei DHing for them. The AL is Adley Rutschman, Vladdy Jr., Altuve, Jose Ramirez, Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge, Stephen Kwan, Juan Soto, and Yordan Alvarez. So pretty strong group of people that made the All-Star team.
I mean, they can talk about 32 first-timers, which is interesting and impressive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is it good for the game to have 32 first-time All-Stars?
No.
I'm talking about eyeballs.
For eyeballs,
Right? If there were 10 to 15 first-timers, yes.
if they were all Paul Skeens level guys.
32 of them, right, is at a level of, okay, I'm talking casual fan now, okay? I'm talking casual fan. I like baseball. I watch baseball. All right. So when I'm talking about Merrill of San Diego. I know who Merrill of San Diego is. Does the audience? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
They've heard more about O'Neill Cruz, who's a below-average player, right, than they have about Merrill, who's an exceptional player, because he doesn't hit the ball 120 miles an hour. He doesn't sit there and fire the ball 110 miles an hour to first base. Right? See, O'Neill Cruz does all the analytics things, but doesn't win you ball games.
Yes.
Okay? Merrill is a really terrific player who wins you ball games. All right? And so casual fans more know about him because of the analytics part, but like O'Neill Cruz doesn't win you games.
Like, that's part of this, I think, is that we are so used to seeing guys who, like, we know the names of.
But that's why, to me, the All-Star game is about mixing in the
This feels like a hard reset. It's a hard reset. It's a hard reset this year. Like,
and when you got 32 first-timers, America has no idea who Jaron Duran is.
Like, let's go.
Okay, Jaron Duran earned his spot in the All-Star game. He's lightning fast. He's part of what the Red Sox have gone to speed.
Yeah.
Right? This guy already has 10 triples this year. He's playing great outfield, the whole deal. But does anybody outside of Boston know who he is?
Yeah.
And it's not just, okay, if you had a mix of 10 to 15 new All-Stars and he's one of them, it would be a way to introduce him to the game.
Yes.
When you got 32 first-time All-Stars, that's the story. It's not the story I want it to be if I'm Major League Baseball, because I need people to be watching the game.
Let's go to 2009 All-Star game to give you an idea, because we're so used to seeing all these guys who are these very good pitchers just constantly. That's part of it, is we want to see the best pitchers and the best batters.
Yes.
And part of the best pitcher feeling is having a guy who we all know. So 2009, I just picked a year.
Right, so you're not going to get, for example, I talked about this last week, the top 6 highest paid starting pitchers in Major League Baseball have combined for 6 wins this season.
Yes.
So Max Scherzer is not going to be in the All-Star game. Justin Verlander is not in the All-Star game. Garrett Cole is not in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
These are all guys that are among the 6 highest paid pitchers, but they're all big names.
And that's who we want to see. And let's go 09, for instance. Again, picked a year. You've got, in terms of pitchers, who I think have some name recognition, at least back then. Mark Burley, I believe by then, had his perfect game.
And had won a World Series.
Josh Beckett, pretty good.
Had won a World Series.
It was Greinke's first All-Star game, but he was a phenom.
Everybody knew who Greinke was.
Yes. Roy Halladay with the Blue Jays, pretty good pitcher. Felix Hernandez, also phenomenon. Jonathan Papelbon as a closer.
He closed out the World Series.
Another closer named Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
And then Justin Verlander as well, pitching, that was his second. Detroit. He was good. On the NL side.
Had pitched in the World Series.
The NL side, you have Tim Lincecum, who was a star at this point.
Yep.
You've got Johan Santana in his 4th. Incredible. K-Rod, again, incredible. Trevor Hoffman, 2nd all-time in saves. Dan Herron, great pitcher. Matt Cain, great pitcher. Jonathan Broxton, great pitcher. Like, you've got guys that, like, you just put all these names in, you're like, yeah, this is going to just be a murderer's row of pitchers you can have come in here.
Right.
But
the key was they were going against a murderer's row of hitters as well.
Because then you move up to the hitters. For the AL side, it's Joe Mauer, Mark Teixeira, Dustin Pedroia, Evan Longoria, Derek Jeter, Jason Bay, Josh Hamilton, Ichiro Suzuki. The weakest there is Bay. But at that point he was 3 All-Star games in.
Is this a Yankee Stadium?
This was 09 was St. Louis.
St. Louis, okay.
And then the other side, the NL side, was Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Chase Utley, David Wright, Hanley Ramirez, Carlos Beltran, Ryan Braun, and Raul Ibanez.
Right. Again, the 32 first-timers, like, that's a headline.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a positive headline.
No.
The reason I'm not saying it's a positive headline, I know they're trying to promote the future of the game. You can't promote the future of the game unless you have draws to the game that get you going. Skeens against Aaron Judge will draw you to the game. Why? Okay? Known entity versus, hey, I got to see this guy pitch. All right? There are going to be a lot of people in the game. As the game goes, the rating's going to drop like a rock. I have no idea who the hell these people are.
You know what team has a good, or what?
And Harper won't be able to play in the game.
No. You know what sport, I guess, has the best all-star game in terms of this year, in terms of the youth to perfect the pros level of changeover? WNBA. They announced their all-star game as well, and they have a very good level of not mixing in too many rookies, like right off the bat. Of course, they've got Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, both for the Team WNBA, are already there. Aaliyah Boston is in her now second year. So you've got 3 younger people. The rest are all older. And then you have the USA Women's National Team is all older players. So like you've got the 3 high-level youth players you really want. They're in this game. They're going to be playing. They're going to be doing damage. Caitlin Clark is going to be playing. Angel Reese is going to play. Aaliyah Boston's going to play. Great. The MLB it's swung too far for an all-star game.
Yeah.
Like, we want to see Skeens and we want to see like Witt Jr., but does anyone want to see Clay Holmes? No, I don't. I'm a Yankees fan. I don't want to see Clay Holmes pitch.
No. In fact, to be honest with you, like my team, I wouldn't want to see any of my guys pitch.
No.
I want them to have the day off. I don't want to see any of them in there.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you.
Like, I'm just going through the team, and I'm like, who do I, like, I want to see Vladdy Jr. hit. Cool. That's cool with me.
Sure.
I don't really want to watch C.J. Abrams play shortstop.
Nope.
I don't really want to watch, like, Isaac Paredes. I've never seen him play before.
Nope.
And yeah, I'm not talking about guys like, oh, I don't know these players. It's not great on me to not know them, but it's part of the all-star game is for the guys who are like, we want to see the Scherzers and the Verlanders. And I get they're having terrible years. So that's part of it. It's like these guys.
No, I know they don't deserve to be in it. They have not earned their spot.
And there are
players have earned their spot. That's not my point.
I know.
My point is,
I agree with you.
For the good of the game, this is not good for the game.
No, it's not.
Right? Because you don't want to have a sport where people are looking at, quote, the alleged stars of the game, and people don't know who they are. Well, you'll get a chance to know them. No, you won't. You're not going to stick around to watch it.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing intriguing about it.
No.
Right? And that's the problem. The ratings are not going to be great because there's going to be a lot of people in there. The people are looking at the list going, who are these people?
Like, can you tell me you've seen Reynaldo Lopez pitch?
No.
Cool.
I mean,
like, out of the pitchers, the only guys we want to see would be a Glasnow, Sale, Skeens, and then take your pick of a Philly and maybe Logan Webb.
Zach Wheeler.
That's pretty much that. And in terms of...
But I'm not downing the people who earned their spot. Matt Strom earned his spot.
I agree.
Which is great. But I'm talking for the overall interest of the game. Okay, Willie Mays just passed away. I remember watching the All-Star game in 1968. The game ended up 1-0. Okay? Mays led off, got on base, stole second, got the third, scored, and then scored, to give him a 1-0 lead. That was it. In 68 was the year of the pitcher. But it's Willie Mays, it's Hank Aaron, it's Roberto Clemente, it's Carl Yastrzemski, it's right. Like you're sitting like going, like these are stars. Okay? I mean, 1969. Okay? They go to Washington. Okay? Carl Yastrzemski climbs the fence and robs Johnny Bench of a home run.
Yeah.
Okay? These are legitimate. They were already on their way to Hall of Fame status. At this point, when these guys are playing.
Out of the 25 highest paid pitchers in baseball, how many do you think are in the All-Star game this year? 25 highest paid pitchers across the board.
Sale would be one of them because he's making a ton of money.
Sale is not top 25.
He's not because he signed a 6-year deal with the Red Sox.
20 as of this moment, he's 28th.
28th.
But top 25 paid pitchers in baseball.
I'd say none.
The correct answer we're looking for is a singular person, Zach Wheeler. Yeah. He's the only pitcher out of the top 25 highest paid dudes in baseball with pitching. No Scherzer, no Verlander, no DeGrom, no Cole, no Corbin. Strasburg is a weird case. Not even a Rodon, no Montgomery, no Nola, Castillo, Gausman, Snell, Robbie Ray. A lot of these guys are hurt. Part of it is a lot of these guys are hurt, and they're not playing well.
And part of it, too, the sport itself has killed the starting pitcher.
Yes. But then we go down.
The starting pitcher doesn't have the starting pitchers back in the day were, oh, look, there's Bob Gibson. Oh, look, there's Whitey Ford. Oh, look, there's, they were out there and they were expected to complete the darn game.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. It was always if a pitcher goes 8 innings, it's a good outing. Like you want them to go 7-8 usually, and then you have an 8th inning guy and a 9th inning guy. And that was kind of how it was for a long time. And now all of a sudden the math has changed. Pitchers have changed. You don't get guys going a full game as often anymore.
And guess what? People don't know who these people are. They have become interchangeable parts. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to be able to promote a game that has interchangeable parts.
Yeah.
You're not. They don't put up statues to interchangeable parts. Mm-hmm. And that's what they've done in Major League Baseball. And that's where the analytics part comes in. And I'll be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've gone through this analytics era. Let me ask you something. Does it work? Oh, there are teams that win the championship. Does it work?
Let's ask Blake Snell.
Right? I'm telling you. Okay? Mm-hmm. There's some old school ways of doing things that still work.
Yeah.
And because they're tried, true, and it's not lazy to lean back on them. It doesn't mean there aren't certain things, for example, that do work. Mm-hmm. Okay. So not saying that it's all wrong, but you have people who have watched the game for a long time. Like, are you drawing new fans? Okay. Are you drawing new fans by playing the game the way you play it right now?
Yeah.
They had to change the rules because of how it was being played. Mm-hmm. Now you have a pitch clock. Now you outlaw shifts, right? There's all these things that you have put in play. You can only throw over to first twice because it's trying to get the game to move a little bit. Right? And when you have a group of individuals that are telling you a strikeout is like any other out, like you look at them and go, have you watched any games? Mm-hmm. Every time the ball's put in play, there's peril.
Yeah.
You have to make the play. Mm-hmm. And if you don't make the play, people are moving. Mm-hmm. When you strike out, nothing moved.
Yeah.
There's no peril. The greatest peril you have is they drop the third strike. Oh, I guess we're going to have to throw it down to first. Right? And when you have that thought process that is entered into the game, where it warped into home runs, strikeouts, and walks, you sit there and go, what are you doing here? Mm-hmm. Because you are teaching players to play that way. Mm-hmm. See, that's the issue. It's not that what we're watching. You have now ingrained into them, this is the way to play. I struck out. Doesn't matter. Okay? Joey Gallo, right, strikes out in a full season, can strike out as many as, 180 times? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, right? Guess what? Back in the day, you struck out 180 times. Okay? You were embarrassed.
Mm-hmm. That was the whole deal with Chris Davis. Everyone's like, he hits home runs, but he strikes out. This is not a good combination. And now it's like an everyday thing. Okay. People do that.
Dave Kingman hit 450-plus home runs and struck out 1 billion times.
Yeah.
Right? And nobody looked at him as like, hey, he's one of the game's best players. Nobody looked at him as one of the game's best players. Now, they looked at him as one of the game's feared hitters because he could hit the ball 1,000 miles, but he also was looked at like, hey, look, it's going to do one of two things. He's going to strike out or he's going to hit one out. Mm-hmm. Well, he struck out more than he hit it out.
Yeah.
And it's so now let's go back to the analytics part. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you can't face a team third time through the lineup. Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm. It's called being a good pitcher and knowing what to do.
Guess what? Mm-hmm. They haven't hit me yet. What, the third time's the charm? Right? I've got good stuff today. Mm-hmm. Okay? They don't have confidence when they walk to the plate against me.
Yeah.
And they run these people in left and right. Mm-hmm. Now we get to the All-Star game. Oh, he's one of the game's top setup guys. And people are like, the casual fan, right, is sitting there like, I don't even know who he is. Mm-hmm. You know, I went to a Pirates-Red Sox game in April. Mm-hmm. Right? I would say that I really knew, 2/3 of the players. There was a third I sat back and went, okay, who's this guy?
Yeah.
What does he do? All right, okay, all right. So he's what? All right. That's no way to promote the game. The NBA, which has gone too far with it,
yes,
has decided years ago to promote today's game, Magic Johnson and the Lakers against Larry Bird and the Celtics. Mm-hmm. Charles Barkley and the Suns against Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
Yes.
Okay? So the name was ahead of the team on the marquee. Mm-hmm. Now it's gone too far. It's LeBron's team. Like, okay, well, maybe last I checked, it was Los Angeles' team, but that's okay. Right, but it's gone too far. But that's how they promoted it. When they have an All-Star game, they actually have stars. I mean, to their credit, they have stars out there. Now, the All-Star game for the NBA stinks.
But at least then, even when they get these guys who are younger, who are these young guys, these rookies, the people you want to see, there's like two of them.
But you mix them in.
Yes.
Right? In other words, there was the old thing about Michael Jordan and the guys snubbing Isaiah Thomas when he finally got to the All-Star game. Okay? But there's a different point to be made. It was Jordan out there with Bird and others, and Isaiah was mixed in. Right? And what they did to freeze him out was wrong. But I'm saying, but he was the kid that was mixed in. Right? You're not mixing in 32 guys. You're thrusting about, here we go, this is baseball today, and people are going, I don't know who these people are. And I'm going to watch one at-bat and maybe one or two plays in the field and be just wowed by it. I'm not going to be wowed by one at-bat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be wowed by if they make two plays in the field. It's like, okay, like I'll be sitting there like going, okay, now do I know Bobby Witt Jr. is? Sure, of course I do. Right? We've talked about him several times on the show over the past couple of years. Ellie De La Cruz we've talked about.
Yeah.
Now he is O'Neal Cruz, except he's an analytics guy that at least is playing better.
He's backing up some of it.
Yeah. Right? O'Neal Cruz is an analytics guy. Like I'll never forget the home run he hit earlier this year, about a month ago. And they kept talking about how high he hit it.
Barely got out.
Right? Right, the apex of it. Now, he hit it high enough and far enough where it was a home run. Right? It doesn't matter to me if it's a line drive.
If it gets out, it gets out.
All right, it gets out, it gets out. I don't care if you hook it down the line in the pesky pole or you slice it down the line in the pesky pole at 302 feet, it gets out. I don't care if it goes into the first row of the short porch at Yankee Stadium in right field.
Yeah.
I don't care. Ball's out. Right? And I know, and I have a great appreciation for the job that Greg Brown and his guys do, because they have not been handed over the decades the best deck of cards to talk about. So Greg and his crew do a great job of trying to get Pirate fans excited about the players on the team. I got it. That's Greg's job. So please, this is not... But they went on for 3 innings about how high he hit this ball. And it got into the first row, which is fine. It's a home run. Okay?
Yeah.
It probably got into the first row because it was hit out. Whatever. But, actually, if he hit it like with a less trajectory, it would have gone into the river. All right? But they're talking about how high and kept going on and on and on. Like, okay, I'm going to buy a ticket to watch it. And then you buy the game I went to, he stunk. Right? In the field, he was At the plate, he was worse. Right? I'm watching him going, he doesn't know how to play.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems that Major League Baseball has. They have too many guys that don't know how to play. I would say the weakest areas I see in the game has a lot of strength. It's a beautiful game. But one of the weakest areas I see is base running. I see some of the base running, I sit there and go, what? Who taught these guys how to run? Right? Routes and angles to baseball and knowing situations and defensively, for God, somebody hit a cutoff man, will you? Because when you hit the cutoff man, now the option is it can go through or I can get somebody else.
Yeah.
Because if base running is as bad as I know it is, and I see it, I can cut off, I can get you at second base.
There was...
I see this all the time.
And I know it's not the majors, but I know this past week at Fourth Fest, I was there having a great time watching I believe it was like Center County versus another place game at Medler. Forget who it was that was playing.
Yeah, it was like the Clinton County Beach Creek group.
And the center fielder overthrew the cutoff man by like a good 6-7 feet over his head.
That's right.
Because he missed the cutoff man, the shortstop, who was out there at the outfield, he missed him by a good chunk. The runner rounded third and scored. And that's why you have a cutoff man, because he's there to get that ball, turn around, and if he sees the runner start to go, he fires it home, guy's out 10 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times. But because he didn't get it, the ball dribbles past, third baseman runs over, the catcher's like, what am I doing? The guy gets home, was safe by a good 10 feet, and then all of a sudden you let an extra run in, and that's a big problem.
Well, I'll give you one that's worse. I'm doing the State College Frederick game on Saturday.
Yeah.
The runner on first. I'm not going to get into names here.
Yeah.
Okay. Popped up foul between the stands and first base. I don't mean near the line.
Yeah.
Halfway
it's middle.
between the stands and the line. Maybe 2/3, maybe like a third, almost. Not to the warning track, but close.
It's going to be in the grounds.
Right? Camp Buford goes over, makes the catch. The runner is halfway between first and second. So the second baseman goes over, Cam tosses it to him, double play, ends the inning. Why in the heck are you running on a foul ball? Now, if it's near the line, now I'm in no man's land because I'm not quite sure if he's going to make the catch in fair territory or foul territory. Totally get that. You're kind of like, okay, what do I do?
But even then,
here?
you set yourself to be able to sprint either direction. You set your body to be able to bolt.
But this ball is in the air, right? And it's closer to the warning track than it is to first base. What are you doing halfway between? You can't run on that ball.
As soon as you see that ball go behind you, you bolt back.
Dumb stuff like this in the game all the time. And I sit there and go, who's teaching these people? Do they take time to do this? Now, I had a long, Mike Gambino and I had a long talk this morning, my friend Ed Russell, right? And we were talking about, like, Mike goes through all this stuff with his players. He says, and I think to myself, geez, I mean, he says, but I better do it. Right? And they go through it. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have a brain moment where it's like you get caught up or whatever, because the mental side of it becomes, because the talent's so comparable. But you can't have the game play. And I'm seeing too many. I'll watch basketball. Now,
I was going to say, I want to make a comparison.
Basketball, and I'll be sitting there like during games and like I'll see plays happen. Dick and I will look at each other like, what are you thinking?
May I make a comparison for basketball? Because that is where my mind went to. A lot of what's going on feels like basketball in terms of you see all these players coming up that are just chucking threes.
Yeah.
They don't shoot the three ball well, but they're chucking them from 32 feet like they're Steph Curry and they're Damian Lillard. And I get it. I watched Steph when I was 14 in high school, and I was like, I want to be like him. And I had fun, and I shot shots, but I knew at the end of the day, I needed to actually know how to play basketball if I was going to play in a game, and I wasn't going to chuck a three up with 2 seconds off the shot clock because That's not a good shot to take. We saw it so often this past season where players would, across the board, every team you could imagine, would dribble down with 6 seconds off the shot clock and just chuck a three. I remember watching a certain player do it in one of the Big Ten tournament games against Penn State. And he dribbles up and chucks a three. And we sat there and you turned to me and Dick and went, huh? On the broadcast.
Yep.
And I just started laughing. I was like, that you're down by 2 and you're hucking a three. Like, Steph Curry doesn't do that unless there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Damian Lillard does that when the game is ending.
Do you know how many times I see at the end of a game
the three taken instead of a 2
in a tie game or a 1-point game, and the guy will take a 3-point shot?
Well, not just take a three; they settle for the three. They're like playing for the three.
I'm out here dribbling, and then take. What are you doing?
There is one player who I can remember in my head watching where I said, you made the right play at the end of that game. There was a game earlier last season where it was the Pacers against whoever it was. Tyrese Halliburton gets the ball with like 8 seconds left. And what does he do? He drives to the basket. Because he knows as soon as he drives, someone's going to crash and he's going to kick it out. That is when a three is okay.
That's
when
fine,
you plan for it.
Because it's the better shot.
Yes. But when you just are like what Damian Lillard does, everyone wants to be him against the Thunder and sending the Thunder home in that playoff game. Dame did that because for him, that's an actually good shot. If you are not Damian Lillard or Steph Curry, I do not want to see you take that shot. Not even Trae Young. I don't want to see anyone not named Steph Curry or Damian Lillard take that shot, but everyone tries to. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? Drive to the basket. Everyone generally, at this point, defenders, if they know it's late in a shot clock, they're willing to just say, I'm not going to let you pass me. You got to chuck a three up. You can get past them. You can very much still get past a lot of these guys. A lot of the guys who have the ball at that point, a Trae Young, Ace Baldwin, they're faster. Just go. Just run past them and do that. And that is what so many guys should be doing.
But you can't.
If you drive, you make chaos and you make things happen.
Here's one of the issues I see with it. And this is not ESPN's fault. Okay? This is not ESPN's fault.
Yes.
When they do SportsCenter, it is a highlight show. Okay? Yeah. Well, in a highlight show, you show highlights, which are the greatest plays of said game, leading into the best plays of next game.
Big dunks, buzzer beaters.
Right. And so forth. Well, what that promotes, I got to get myself on SportsCenter. I need the big dunk. I need to have a signature move after I score a touchdown. Right? I need to do the bat flip when I hit a home run. Right? And that's how I'm going to get on SportsCenter. Okay, well, why don't you do some of the things that win the game? Right? Yeah. Striking out doesn't win the game. Playing hero ball and taking a bad shot that misses is not winning the game. So I'll give you an example. Maturity can mean so much, and your image as a player completely changes when you start thinking differently out there. Excuse me.
Like right? when you are.
I'm going to give you a prime example. I'm going to name a name.
Let's hear it.
Tony Carr. Tony Carr's freshman year at Penn State, on at least 3 occasions, freshman year, took 3-point shots to try and win games and missed all 3. Right? Missed all 3. Okay? Playing hero ball. So the next year, he starts out doing the same thing. And he got away with it at Ohio State. And you see the shot replayed in the Jordan Center all the time. Game was tied. And I think there was something like 6 seconds left. Right? And what had happened is Penn State led almost the entire game. Yeah. And I think it may have been Keita Bates-Diop. Made some big plays down the stretch, hit some shots, and they finally tied it. Place going crazy. Well, he comes down the floor and from just across the half-court line fires it up. And if you listen to our play-by-play of it, I said he fires it up from mid-court, and Dick says, right when the ball's in the air, what is he doing?
Mm-hmm.
We still laugh about that today, right? And I say, he banks it in. And then in the post-game, Dick said, he says, so you can hear, I said, what is he doing? And I looked over, I said, winning the game, right? But that was a hero play. And it was, to be honest with you, it's an electrifying highlight reel shot, the whole deal, but it's not the right shot. Yeah. You had 6 seconds. You had plenty of time to get up the floor. Now let's talk about the maturity of the game. Okay? Now, watch Tony Carr from that game on. From that game on, and this is when they got Josh Reeves back. I'm not going to get into the fiasco of that, and it was a fiasco. Okay. Penn State started playing great basketball down the stretch. And Tony started making everybody around him better while also still getting his shots because Tony was shooting the ball well. But it wasn't a high volume. Okay. So now let's get to Ohio State take 3, because when they played in the Jordan Center, Penn State blew them out. So here's the third time. Ohio State's ranked in the top 10.
They're a good team.
All right. Well, there's no doubt on a neutral floor we're going to win the game. Penn State lucked out the first time. Second time they were home, whatever. Okay. So this is a terrific game. Madison Square Garden. Shep Garner, the whole group. Ohio State has the ball in a tie game. And they get across the midcourt stripe, and Shep makes a terrific play and knocks the ball away. And Pat does not call a timeout. Tony gets to the top of the key. Tony Carr, from his freshman season to midway of his sophomore season, would have taken that shot. Instead, and Ohio State thought the same thing. They're running 2 guys at him. Josh Reeves breaks from the wing. Carr gets there. Boom. Reeves puts it in. Penn State wins the game.
Yeah.
Right? Maturity. In other words, the ability to make the smart winning play and not the hero ball play. My respect for him making that play is exponentially higher than the thrilling 3-point shot from 48 feet, right? Or it's by 45 feet that he banked in, 45-foot banker to win the game. That was exciting. That was thrilling. That was great. That was the better play. Like an actual great basketball play that was in a dramatic moment where Penn State won and advanced to the Big Ten semifinals.
I have 2 other examples for you, basketball-wise. 97. What does Michael Jordan do? He drives, and then instead of making hero ball play, he throws to some dude named Steve Kerr who drills a shot, and then all of a sudden the Bulls end up going on to beat the Jazz. Like, Jordan saw the shot, passed it to him. He saw
John Paxson,
the other one.
But okay, this is where society comes in.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't want to take the big shot in the big moment. Remember that? Right? And you sit there and go, the guy makes winning plays.
And then was it 1 year later? Was 98 the year he crossed over
Byron Russell.
Right. And
knocked it in. But he got criticized for passing for the winning shot. Are you people drunk?
Yeah.
Right? Get off your high horse. Winning plays are winning plays.
Yes.
Right? I thought more of him for looking around saying, hey, look, he's got a better shot than I do.
Chris Bosh rebounds the ball after LeBron misses a 3. He very easily could have taken one dribble and tried to put up a jump shot from 15 feet away. But he sees Ray Allen backpedaling and says, you. Passes it right to him. Ray Allen goes back, takes a shot, drills it.
That's Game 6 against San Antonio.
Game 7, I have this clip pulled up. I had to watch it to check. Sixers Raptors. I'll break every Sixers fan's heart with this one.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard. He gets the ball right outside the 3-point arc. He dribbles, turns around, and tries to get his way into the paint. That's what he's trying to do the entire time, is get into the lane, because he knows if he can get to his spot right on the elbow, he's going to rise up, and no one's going to stop the shot from going in. Kevin Durant does the same thing. Devin Booker does it as well. You get to their spot, and that's a shot I'm willing to take. If you can't get to the lane, or can't get to the hoop, take the shot you're going to make 95% of the time.
Right.
Kawhi tries, isn't able to do it, so he has to take a hero ball shot. And he gets real lucky with a few bounces and drills it.
Right.
So those shots happen, but they are the 1 in a billion shot. Right. Kawhi has to go to the corner and take a running 3 off of his right foot over Joel Embiid to drill this shot. Damian Lillard's 3-pointer is from 35 feet out over Paul George's hand by a millimeter.
Right.
And it's a tough shot fading away to his right. Like, these shots are ridiculous and require not only skill, but also a lot of luck. Part of this is luck. If the ball is off by even a tiny bit.
Luck plays, okay. Okay, good fortune plays a role in many things. Look, I've done a lot of games where, like, good fortune didn't go Penn State's way. And it was like, okay, a bounce here, a bounce there, like, okay. But somebody makes a smart play. So I talk about Tony. I think it was a fair evaluation I gave of a guy that I think the world of Tony Carr. I do. All right.
He is no longer listening to the show, but that's okay.
No, but guess what? If he's realistic, he knows I'm right. Right? Because he took all those hero ball shots. And like Dick and I said it on the broadcast. He's playing hero ball. Like, what are you doing? It's not the right play. Right? I mean, the 3-point shot that he took, at the end of the Ohio State game is the dramatic one, played over and over and over again, blah, blah, blah. I see it. And, it's fun to watch. And it's an ESPN highlight play.
Yes.
But what's the better basketball play? The one he made against Ohio State in Madison Square Garden, where my respect for him is exponentially higher than banking in a 45-foot shot that was just, no offense, that's like the skill is the leg and power to get it there. But after that, it becomes, it's luck, right?
Yeah.
Firing a good pass and the guy lays it in, that's a high-skill play. Jordan throwing the ball to Paxson or Kerr to win that game, to close out a series, a championship series, that's just smart basketball. I mean, for God's sakes, when the Celtics beat the Lakers in '69, it wasn't John Havlicek or Bill Russell or Satch Sanders making the game-winning shot in Game 7. It was Don Nelson. Okay? Who cares who makes it? But ESPN cares who makes it. Right? Okay? They do. That's the one area where I'll fault them for it. I will fault them on this. It's their job to show highlights. But there are certain names that they've got to get out there all the time. And I know enough people there where I know that that's what they do. Okay?
Yeah.
We got to show you the Tiger highlights. We got to show you LeBron highlights. It doesn't matter if LeBron stunk, but he had, like the other night, Bronny James had, 4 points?
Something like that.
Right? He was 2 of 9.
Yeah.
How many times do we have to see the two mix? Look at this really incredible crossover. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, okay, great. So he was one of the other 8. Like, no offense. He played lousy. Okay? It's like, it's the way it goes. He didn't play well. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like the down. I'm just saying because because it's him. I'm sitting like, oh God, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. At the end of games, we should not care who makes the shot as long as it goes in. And I remember the quote from Moneyball, the end of the movie. Billy Beane says, "No one cares how you did throughout the season unless you win the last game of the season." I don't care how you got there. I want the ball to just go in the net. I don't care if it's LeBron, if it's Dalton Connect, if it's Kyle Leff. I do not care. If it's me, I'll care.
Wow.
But outside, like, I'm not going to care if it's Steve Kerr or Michael Jordan. It goes in, it goes in. That's what counts. Do you win the game? Yay or nay?
Penn State makes the NCAA tournament in 2023. Seth Lundy is a second-round pick in the NBA's 1,000-point scorer. Jalen Pickett is Penn State's first All-American since Jesse Arnell in 1955. Okay. Means I did all those years, no All-Americans. Right. Andrew Funk's in the NBA. Okay. Against Northwestern, Cam Winter hit the game winner in overtime. Now they come back to the Jordan Center, rally from 15, 16 down, 16 down. And who on the weak side grabs the rebound and lays it in? Pickett? Lundy? Funk? These are your 3 stars. or Cam Winter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or Miles Dredd,
Yeah.
Cam Winter. Does it matter? I looked up at the board. Penn State had more points.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there.
I don't care how you get there.
Mm-hmm. Just do it.
I don't need,
Mm-hmm.
You need your stars to be your stars in the biggest moments. It doesn't mean they have to be the one that hits the home run.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean they have to be the one that breaks off an 80-yard run.
If they're good enough, they'll be involved,
right,
but they don't need to be the only person doing everything.
So I'll give you one, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, Penn State beats Iowa on a night where Saquon Barkley puts together a statistical line for the ages.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But Penn State had to make a final drive.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth down pass play from Trace McSorley to Saeed Blacknall keeps the drive alive early.
Mm-hmm.
They get down to the win it or lose it play, last play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You need your stars to be the stars. All right. McSorley takes it, back throws. He's got Hamilton and Juwan Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Juwan Johnson back of the end zone, touchdown. Penn State wins it. Watch the tape.
Mm-hmm.
You watch the tape. Who's the pivotal player on the play besides the throw and the catch?
Guessing Saquon?
Who Josie Jewell blitzed, and Saquon stoned him at the line of scrimmage. Penn State star was the star.
He made the play.
On that play that allowed two other guys to make the play. In other words, your star was the star because he was the star in his role on that play. Okay, you got to be a star in your role. On that play, his role was to pick up the blitz. He was a star in that role, and that play happened because he did that.
Yeah.
He didn't have to score. He didn't have.
No.
To, okay, he did everything else that night. It was phenomenal. Okay, what he did that night, but it showed you his commitment to playing the game right. That, well, it's not going to me. No, well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was going to me all night, but now on this one, it's not going to go to me. You need me to pass protect? I'm going to be the best pass protecting running back out there.
Yeah.
And against a future NFL player, because Jewell's a good player, right? Who was, by the way, Josie Jewell had a really good night that night. He stoned him in the hole. Boom. Penn State star
Made the play.
Did not throw it, did not catch it, did not run it, but was one of the stars on that play. So your star doesn't have to be the one that hits the game-winning shot, but they have to be responsible for how the game is won. Right? And on that play, he was responsible for helping them win.
That he was.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all on Sports Talk with Steve Jones.